Here's a first look at my new, to me, 2022 Husqvarna FE501S. Picked it up today, very excited about it. Has only 199 miles on the odometer and somewhere around 3 hours of runtime on the engine. It's basically brand new. It's got a seat concept seat on there already, which I would have done anyways. And in this video, we're going to transform it from this into this.
As a first order of business, let's remove these dorky mirrors and drain the old fuel out of this thing, since it's been mostly sitting for the last few years. And we'll be installing a new gas tank anyways.
We've got the previous owner's melted pant leg on the header here. So just took the bike for a 2-minute ride to warm it up, and I'm going to see if I can sort of scrape some of this off. Looks like it's softened up real nice, and I just use a blade and it'll just slide right off of there. So that's satisfying. And after just a couple of minutes of scraping with the blade, we've got the last remnants of pant leg off the pipe. And that's a good segue into the first modification for this bike that we'll be installing, which is a header guard. And as we all know, one vehicle mod always leads to the next. This oil filler cap is not compatible with the P3 header guard, so we've got a nice CNC oil filler cap. It's low profile and should be compatible. Got a little bit carried away on day one of modifications here. Did the tail tidy by disassembling the factory plate and using the built-in plate with some 3D printed turn signals. Those are looking really nice, low profile, they're super bright. I'm about to install the Acerbis 3.1 gallon tank in black, which should look pretty cool. Got a new LED headlight on there, still has the protective film on it. So I'll get some ceramic coat on that before I actually go for a ride. But progress is good. Got the pretty 210 mirrors on there. Just look a little bit sportier. We'll get something extra low profile later. But yeah, it's coming right along. Okay, it's day 2 of the FE501S build. Made a lot of progress on day 1, as you can probably see. Got the tail tidy on there, custom LED rear blinkers, some extra LED blinkers I had lying around in the garage, put those on. They're not the Takamoto ones, though they look very similar. Cheap Amazon LED headlight, nice DRL on there. Did some maintenance items, changed the oil, fixed the coolant level, got the Acerbis tank on there. Reverse bled the brakes and the clutch master. So yeah, it's about ready to go. Main focus today is going to be more protection items I have purchased. I got the swing arm guards on there already. I have a couple of engine case covers, ignition cover, clutch cover, water pump cover, all in that matching dark blue. It'll look nice with the seat and the grips. Got a skid plate to put on there. Stock one's off because of the oil change. And then the main thing today I want to check out is whether this 300XC top clamp with the rubber isolator damping bushings here, if this is a direct swap over or not, because the vibrations on this bike are about as bad as everybody makes them out to be. They're pretty bad. So I've already got the vibration damping foot pegs from Fast, I think they're Fastway, or just Fast, I don't remember, with 2 A's. They did almost nothing, I'll be honest with you. My feet were still tingling after the short test ride I took with those on there. So to be fair, I haven't ridden this bike yet with actual riding boots. It's just been like work boots or tennis shoes, and I'm only going a quarter mile and turning around. I haven't even taken this thing for a real ride yet. I'm excited to do that, but I also just want to get a lot of this stuff done before I do. So let's get started. I'll set up a time lapse, and I'll just cut in with a voiceover of anything that goes right or wrong with this. I'll also throw the part number in the description, though if you pause the video, you can kind of see it right there. The cross reference for this part is, it's a really long fitment list. It fits a ton of bikes from the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years if I remember right. So there's a really good chance that it's going to fit. It is a KTM part. But yeah, we'll find out together, and hopefully it'll reduce some of the vibrations. I'm also planning to do some bar end weights, something like that, to cut down it a bit. But that's enough talking. I'll set up the time lapse, and let's get going. Okay, well, that was a bit of a challenge. I hadn't taken the front of a bike fully apart before, so almost dropped the front fork on the ground. It was a bit of a mess, but got it back together. Everything's just finger tight at the moment, but it confirms that it does fit. So there's the new clamp with the rubber bushings in the risers. And now I just have to look up all the torque specs for all the hardware here, and we'll button it back up, but that's pretty exciting. Hopefully it makes a pretty good reduction in the vibrations. All right, time for a skid plate. Whew, that is thick.
So this skid plate actually turned out to be pretty difficult to install based on how thick it is and how rigid it is. It's really difficult to apply enough upward force to get it to clip into place. And I'm also really not looking forward to removing and reinstalling it every time I have to do an oil change, since it also requires you to remove the header. And here you can see the Cycra handguards going on.
Okay, one more update here on these turn signals. There was a bit of an issue where current was backfeeding through the dash indicator bulb. That was a small amount of current. It wasn't enough to illuminate the incandescents, but after switching to LEDs, that backfeed was causing any turn signal activation to illuminate all four instead of per side. That bulb was connecting the two circuits. In addition to that, the bulb was actually being blocked by these handguard mounts, these Cycra handguard mounts that screw into the handlebar risers. So I couldn't see the dash bulb indicator anyways, but I still wanted some indication of when the lights were flashing. So my solution was to install additional flush mount LED turn signals and have them face up towards the cockpit. So now I have one on each side, and I'll show you what that looks like.
Also, just to be clear, the original dash indicator bulb was removed to isolate the left and right circuits, and the socket was sealed up with a vacuum hose cap.
There we go. So I'll always have an indication when the turn signals are on, and it's now per side instead of just generic. And I think these look pretty great. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Get the other side going. Here's a view from the cockpit. Should be pretty difficult to forget that my turn signal is on at this point, which is exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And then here's another look at the dashboard with the voltage monitor and the ignition relocation. This is just something that I designed and 3D printed. Peak Design phone mount. So yeah, I think it's ready to roll now. It's a heck of a ride. A lot more power than I'm used to, a lot lighter weight. I'm really enjoying it.
Stay tuned for the next video, and we'll take this thing for its first shakedown ride in the dirt.